Hello, and welcome to this Grade 4 episode of Math Matters. I'm Miss Ott, and today we are going to learn about probability. For today's lesson, you will need a pencil and a piece of paper. We'll wait for you as you gather these materials. Today, we are going to learn about probability. Probability is the likelihood or chances of an event or outcome occurring. An outcome is the result of an event or activity. For example, if I flip a coin, there are two possible outcomes. It could land on heads, or it could land on tails. We can describe probability in many ways. On the screen, you see your learning target for today. I am learning about probability and the ways I can describe and represent it. Look at the line on the screen. Does it remind you of a tool we use in math? If we add some numbers, it looks like a number line. We will use a number line today as we think about probability. We can also use words to describe probability. If I know something is absolutely going to happen, I use the word certain. I am certain that the sun will rise tomorrow because I know the sun rises every day, even if it's cloudy and I can't see it. Events that are certain belong at the 1 on the number line. When I know that there is no way that something can happen, I say that it is impossible. It is impossible for me to pull a dime out of this wallet because there are only pennies inside. Events that are impossible belong at the 0 on the number line. Some events have outcomes that are equally likely. For example, the coin flip we talked about earlier has two outcomes. It is equally likely that when I flip the coin, it will land on heads or tails. Events that are equally likely belong at the half mark on the number line. Sometimes events or outcomes fall in between these numbers and are described with other words. For example, it is likely that this spinner will land on blue when I spin it because it has 3 blue spaces and only 1 green space. It is less likely that I would spin a blue on this spinner because there are more green spaces than blue ones. Likely events would be placed between equally likely and certain on the number line. Less likely events would be placed between impossible and equally likely on the number line. Let's think about this spinner. Use the vocabulary we just learned to answer these questions. What is the probability of spinning a blue? You might have said that it is not very likely that we will spin a blue because it is only a small portion of the whole spinner. What is the probability that we would spin a purple or blue or orange? You might have said it is likely or even equally likely, since those three colors take up half of the spinner. Malik and Mia were playing a game using a spinner. The results of their spins are shown in the chart. Which spinner or spinners could they have been using, and how do you know? Take a moment to think and write your answer on your paper. Here's how I thought about it. First, I looked at the table and I noticed that the number of red spins and the number of blue spins are very close. That means I'm looking for a spinner where the area of the red and the area of the blue are almost the same or the same. So I looked at the spinners again. I know right away that spinner B doesn't make sense because this spinner has a lot more blue space than red space. I also noticed that there were no greens on the tally chart. So spinner C cannot be the right answer. I now have two spinners left. I notice that they both have equal parts that are red and blue. That means that either spinner could be the spinner that Malik and Mia were using to play their game. Now, on your paper, you'll create your own spinner. Make a spinner where landing on red is almost impossible and landing on blue is almost certain. If you don't have crayons or colored pencils, you can write R for red and B for blue inside your spinner. Maybe your spinner looks something like this. This spinner has only two outcomes, red or blue. Most of this spinner is blue, and only a small fraction of the spinner is red. The smaller the red section is, the closer to impossible it is to spin a red. Malik and Mia were playing with their spinners when they started to argue. Mia thought she could make a spinner where red and blue are both unlikely outcomes. Malik disagrees and did not think that was possible. What do you think? Take a moment to write down who you agree with and then draw a spinner that proves your thinking. Who do you think is correct? If you said Mia, you're right. I can draw a spinner that has more than 2 outcomes, like this one that has red, blue, and green. Since green takes up most of my spinner, it is unlikely that I will spin a red or a blue. Let's think about some other examples and where we might put them on our continuum. Draw a line on your paper with 0, half, and 1 in the correct spots. As I read each example, think about the likelihood of that event or outcome occurring. Let's try one. You will get wet if you jump in a pool. On your number line, make a mark where you think the probability of getting wet if you jump in a pool would occur. Write the word pool under your line. It will rain in the Sahara Desert on June 31st. Put your mark on the number line and write the word Sahara underneath it. A cube with 6 faces, numbered 1 through 6, will land on 5 on the next roll. Put your mark on the number line and write the number 5 underneath it. You will see a flying pig if you look out your window right now. Where does the probability of that happening belong on our number line? Place a mark and write the word pig underneath it. You will read something today. Place a mark on the number line and write the word read underneath it. Let's check our answers. Remember, your lines don't have to be in the same place as mine to be correct, but they should be close. Our first statement was, you will get wet if you jump in a pool. As long as that pool is full of water, it is certain that you will get wet if you jump into it. It will rain in the Sahara Desert on June 31st. The Sahara Desert is a very dry place. It is quite unlikely that it would rain on that date. So I put that one pretty close to the 0. A cube with 6 faces, numbered 1 through 6, will land on 5 on the next roll. 5 is 1 out of 6 possible outcomes. That means it's pretty unlikely that I will roll a 5. I put that one about halfway between impossible and equally likely. You will see a flying pig if you look out your window right now. That's impossible. Pigs don't fly. You will read something today. Chances are very high that you will read something. I put reading very close to certain. How do your answers compare to mine? On today's episode of Math Matters, we learned about probability and the ways you can describe and represent it. Today, we used a number line and words to describe the chances of events or outcomes occurring. Think about how you feel about your ability to do this. If you think you could describe the probability of outcomes occurring with words and on a number line, give a thumbs up. If you're still learning how to do this, give a thumb to the side. If you think you need more help from someone at home or a teacher, put a thumb down. Today, use your paper, pencil, and a paper clip to create some of your own spinners. Spin the spinners 20 times each and record your data. How likely is it that you will spin certain colors on your spinners? Thank you for joining us for this 4th grade episode of Math Matters. I'm Miss Ott. I hope you have a great day and keep on counting.